We're with Captain A.
JJ.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Fix It, Fish It, Flip It. Today we're doing a little repair on my buddy's hatch on his mako. It's one of the front fish box hatches. In the center there was a little bit of a soft spot, and as we got to grinding, I told him to pull all the core out. It's probably wet and we'll go from there. Well, he opened it up. All the core material was actually dry. So he got to grinding all that out, and then what we found was underneath the core there was a layer of glass, and then there was another layer of like thin 1/8 inch kind of core material type stuff. And what had happened was the fiberglass in that big light area that you see, all the fiberglass had delaminated from that, and it was causing this like air pocket squishy void area. So what we did, we ground all that out until we got back to where the glass was actually adhered to the core material. It was nice and adhered there. You can see on the edges, I just feathered it out. And then I took a couple pieces of scrap glass I had laying around. That's 2415, the first one. It's woven roven. It's they used to use it a lot in handmade boats, like hand-built boats, where they'd hand lay up all the glass. Really strong stuff. And then a layer of 1708 on top of that to kind of switch up the direction of the glass and give it even more strength. And then once that was all in there, what we're going to do, we're going to come back, put in a layer of divinycell, and then I'll glass on top of that. What I did there, I I wet out both pieces of glass first on like a piece of trash bag next to it, so that way I don't have to try to wet it out on the material and make sure it just works a lot better. It's a lot faster if you have the area, have the space, and the ability to wet out the material first. It always just goes a lot smoother because you can see and make sure it's fully wet out before you stick it on. So I always enjoy doing that if I have the opportunity. So here we go. I'm gonna get this all laid up and we'll show you the process. What is going on, YouTube? So yesterday we started working on this hatch. A friend of mine, Andy, has a 232B mako, and the hatch was starting to get soft, so I told him to cut it out, remove all the wood, figuring the wood would be bad, but the wood was not bad. The wood was actually in really good shape. But what it is you can see a little bit here, there's the glass for the top, and then there's a very thin, like 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch core material, and then there was some glass, and then there was the regular core material, and then there was more glass. Why? I don't know. I think they laid it up in two sections, so they laid this up and put a little piece of core, and then they laid this piece up and smushed them together. But in this whole area was all delamed from the core. It was a big air pocket, and it was soft. Like yesterday you could just push like that and the whole thing would move around. Even with it like this, you would push and the whole thing would move. Way solid now compared to yesterday. But what we're gonna do today is finish it up. Normally on a hatch repair kind of deal like this, I would have cut this all the way out, cut this whole piece, cut that all the way out and ground back here, smush the core in and had the glass roll over like this, and then blend it on the edge here, and then paint fair, and go about it like that. But Andy said that this fits like perfectly in the opening, like it sandwiches in there really nicely. So we didn't really want to try to have it not fit or redo that. So we're just gonna put the core in. I'm gonna make sure there's a lot of thickened resin all in the edges, and then I'm gonna try to grind down these lips just a little bit so I can have at least a little bit of bonding with the glass on the top side of it. And yeah, then we should have a nice new hatch. Good to go. So I'm gonna mix up some resin. I'm gonna sand this a little bit because this is kind of rough and it cured really good. It's all super dry and hard. So I want to rough this up so we get a good bond to it. And then we'll mix up some thickened resin, smush in the piece of divinycell, and we will put a piece of glass over top of it and call it a day. Here we go. Now you can see what's going on. Alright, so we got 2 things of resin, fumed silica cabosil to thicken it with, and a piece we're going to stick in there. Now it's going to stick in this way, so I'm not too worried about filling all these little grooves right now, because the resin, when I wet it out, is going to soak in there. I am going to wet the backside out though before I stick it in to help with that. I've found if you kind of do like a jabbing motion like this, where you like push it down into it, it seems to not come shooting out all over the place. Also, highly recommend wearing a respirator if you're doing this. This stuff's really bad. I have a lot of breeze going on today, but you should definitely not be breathing it in. It's not good stuff. A little much, and a little bit more resin. Another trick I found, take your mixing stick and you round it off. When you come along these edges, you can really smush it in there, but also get a nice little edge, so when you shove it all in there, it gets all in there. Less thick. Good old mekp. A little bit. That's cool. That's right. I mix here in Florida. I had a buddy tell me that used to build boats, and it's kind of what I've always mixed it at since then. But I do 12 cc's per quart of resin, 12 cc's of hardener per quart of polyester resin. I don't really know what the percentage is. I think that's around 1% or something. I don't know, but it's always seemed to work out. So that's what we just did here. Rough eyeball, we were like 5.5, 6 cc's, about a half a quart. Take this stuff and start globbing it in here. Start spreading it around. All right, what up YouTube? We are back at it. So once again, the other day, smushed in the divinycell core with the peanut butter, so we're all nice. I sanded it all down nice and smooth. I taped it all up because this is all nice white gel coat, and we don't want to get it all gross and nasty and resined up. So, a quart of resin should be enough for this panel. Do a layer 1708, layer chop to make the top nice and smooth. And that should do it. Let's get after it. So like I said the other day, got a quart of resin here. What I'm gonna do, we're gonna lay this out. I'm gonna pre-wet this out. I'm gonna stick it on here. I'm also gonna take resin and fill in, wet this all out so it fills in all these cracks and crevices and makes this all solid. Normally I'd use a solid piece of divinycell, but I had this stuff laying around left over, and I don't think it's gonna hurt to have all the resin down in there, make it a little stiffer maybe. Let's get after it. So we're gonna mix up. I hope you guys can see all right. Be up a little bit. Should be good. Mix up 12. I really miss my squeeze bottle. I don't know where it went. Somebody stole my squeeze bottle. 12 cc's. 4 quart of resin. A squeeze bottle basically has this cup on the top with a little straw, so you just squeeze the bottle, it fills the cup, it makes it super simple. We'll throw that in there. We're gonna get after this. One thing when you're mixing, you always want to come in and scrape the sides. You want to make sure that hardener gets fully down in there and gets all mixed in with everything. In the squeeze bottle I had colored hardener. It had like a red color to it. It was dyed. It's good for this kind of stuff because the resin turns red and you can tell when it's like really mixed in there good. Right now with this last order I just got clear because I'm also going to use it from gel coat and other stuff, so I can't use red dyed hardener in white gel coat. That doesn't work good. Whoa, we're flinging stuff out of here. All right, that looks good. Call that nice and mixed. Pop open one of these. Give myself a little streamer on here. Get to wetting out. So I'm gonna come in here while it's doing that, brush some across here. We are going to get working on this skiff again soon. Just had chaos after chaos. And it's been hot and there was a hurricane and just craziness. But finally got a little bit cooler weather. It's been in like the 70s and 80s, which is absolutely gorgeous for South Florida. Alright, this is wetting out nice. Alright, let that soak a little bit, get back in here. All right, set this down. Check this guy. I do highly recommend wearing gloves. I don't really know why I haven't been wearing gloves this whole time. But it definitely makes cleanup a lot nicer, easier with gloves. Also, if I had gloves on, I could just take my hand and kind of just smush along this and get all that air out instead of having to dab it. What else works really good is a roller. I have one in there, but I don't want to get it all dirty because I want to use it when I build the skiff, and they're kind of a pain to clean. Tell me that's not a pretty layup. Just gonna dab in a little bit of extra resin right in this area because it's a little bit of a low spot and I can see the friggin' air pocket it's creating. Gonna do that. There we go. No more air, just resin. Dang, that's awesome. That makes me proud of myself. I'm actually just gonna lay this right on top of here. This is gonna wet out super simple. This we're just gonna brush on a little bit. The chop is just going to help get rid of, it's going to make it really nice to kind of sand and smooth out to try to get a nice finish out of when we're trying to finish it out. But 1708 likes to leave a bit of a texture. So this chop layer is going to make a nice little layer that'll smooth and sand out nicely. Hope you guys can hear me all right. There's all kinds of crazy noises. And the birds, I don't understand why there's always birds just going after it over here. Dabbing away. Dab, 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 dab. just for reference too, this is all pretty much leftover scrap stuff. But if you were price-wise, a gallon of resin is, I want to say, around 50 bucks. Might be less, I'd have to look. Brushes are $2 each, if that. Mixing bucket, another $1 or $2. And chop strand, these little pieces, and the 1708 also, the little amounts that we used for this, fairly cheap. They quoted him, I think, $650 to recore this. So, with a little bit of sweat equity, or a good friend like myself that knows how to do it, save 650 bucks. Maybe $200 in material max, in time, if that. I mean, I honestly don't even think it's 200. I'd say maybe $100 worth of material. And there we go. We're all wet out. We let it dry, sand it, and honestly, I'm probably going to take some of the gel coat that I got and just mix it up and gel coat it white, and then he can sand it and buff it and polish it and do whatever he wants to do with it. There we go. All right, and look at that. Got it rough sanded down. Glass is all done. We are hard as a rock over here. That sounded kind of bad. Andy's all fired up. He has nothing to do today, so he wants to get after gel coating it. All right, well, Andy came and picked up the hatch. He ran back to his place and he slapped some paint on it. I think he used some Interlux or something he had laying around from another repair that he did prior. And that's the finished product. It came out good. It's rock solid. Everybody's happy. Andy put it back on the Mako. And yeah, I hope this helps out. If you guys have like a soft spot or something on your boat, you can do this from above, you can do it from below. It's really pretty simple process to recore a soft spot. It's not very complicated. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if you could, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, that would really help. And I'll keep making videos on my day-to-day life of fishing and fixing things. Take it easy, everybody.